Hello, we're the history hikers. We are in front of Chateau d'Aguilar, Aguilar Castle. What should we say? Eagle Castle.
Well, yes, Eagle Castle, because it comes from Aquila, which means eagle in Latin.
Voilà. Yeah, it's looking pretty impressive. The road here was really small, but luckily there was no one else. There's still no one else here. So it looks like we're alone, that's nice. Yeah, let's go check it out. Situated in the Aude department in southern France, the castle of Aguilar stands at a height of 320 meters, appearing to crown the hill. It's surrounded by vineyards, fields and bushes.
Traces of habitation have been found dating back to the prehistoric times and up to the Romans. Evidence has also been found of a possible Roman lookout post on top of the hill. The first mention of the castle dates to some centuries later, however. In 1020, Bernard Taillefer, Count of Besalú, passed the castle down to his son Guillaume, just like the castles of Peyrapertus and Quéribus, which we visited in previous videos. A little later, the castle would pass on to the Trancavel family, lords of Carcassonne, who would grant it in fief to the lords of Terme.
During the Albigensian Crusade, the lords of Terme were fierce opponents of the crusade. Because of this, their castles in Terme and Aguilar were besieged and captured by Simon de Montfort. Raymond de Terme was captured and died in the dungeons of Carcassonne. His son Olivier would continue resisting the foreign meddling in Occitan affairs. Olivier would regain the castle somewhere before 1240 and continue aiding the Cathars. Aguilar became home to many Cathars around this time.
Before we enter the castle, we can view the remains of the chapel. It was part of the castrum that had formed on the southern side of the castle. The barrel-vaulted ceiling is 4 meters high. In 1240, the castle of Aguilar served as a meeting point for the Occitan nobles who joined the revolt of the Trancavel family trying to recapture Carcassonne. When the revolt failed, Olivier would subject to the French King Louis IX and would go on to become one of his most trusted allies, even joining the king on his crusade to the Holy Land. The king would give back the castle to Olivier in gratitude. Olivier wrote in his will in 1257 that he would pass on the castle to the French crown upon his death. The king would gain control of it sooner than that, however, when he purchased it in 1260 to make up for Olivier's death from the crusade. Olivier died in 1275.
We entered the castle through the main gate in the outer wall, which was constructed during the 13th and 14th centuries. The castle was built in two periods. The first was during the 12th century under the lords of Terme. They would construct the central enclosure with its square donjon or keep. The second building period was after 1260, when it was remodeled during the French period. From then onward, the castle was a royal bastion in the defense against hostility from Aragon and later Spain. Since the castle was easy to approach for enemy armies, it underwent large fortification works. The outer ring wall with its many towers was built, for example. Aguilar, along with the castles of Puilarens, Queribus, Peyrepertuis and Terme, were known as the Five Sons of Carcassonne as the main southern defensive line. Throughout the following centuries, Aguilar would defend against several hostile incursions. It would remain an important castle up until the Treaty of the Pyrenees in 1659. The border with Spain moved further south, and Aguilar lost its strategic importance. It fell into decay and was used as a stone quarry.
Before walking around the other walls, we check out the oldest part of the castle, the central enclosure. On the left here was the Lord's residence, which consisted of 2 floors. The bottom floor was used for defense, hence the many arrow slits.
This side of the southern wall of the enclosure has many holes. These would have held the wooden floor joists of the buildings built against the wall. We make our way up to the eastern edge of the enclosure where the wall was thickest. Visible here is also a cellar.
On the other side we see a square tower, which was the donjon or keep. It consisted of 3 floors. The lower one housed a cistern. Visible here are the second, with its window, and a few remains of the 3rd floor.
We now make our way around the outer wall and stop to admire the half-open towers. In this clearing between the 2 walls, you can see evidence of the staircases that would have led to the battlements, as well as the remains of the walls of the buildings constructed here.
In the northeastern corner we find the postern gate, which served as a second, smaller entrance or exit to and from the castle.
We finish our tour at the largest corner tower. It is one of the best preserved towers and has 8 arrow slits at the lower level and 4 at a higher level. Aguilar Castle has just been conquered. We are redoing the outro because of the wind. It was definitely a cool castle with an extensive little booklet. I think it's time now for the arbitrary, subjective castle score. I was going to go for an 8, though now in retrospect I might up that to 8.5. What do you think, Jente?
I'm also going for an 8.5. I believe it's quite as good as Kiribus.
Yeah, this time the fog has cleared and we actually can see the surroundings. Beautiful views all around. Anything else to add?
Why yes. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe and all that good YouTube stuff if you have enjoyed watching this video.
Bye!
Bye!